Iyauche is a policy lead on petroleum and conventional energy at ACEP. He's joining us on the line. Mr. Iyauche, welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you for having me.
Is this an audit you did, since we were talking about audits, or you're relying on an information from the audit service? Where is this information coming from? What are the facts?
I mean, these are all disclosures made by the same company on their net losses over the period. So we're just taking a look at how much losses are being made in the power sector, especially by ECG. And so we identified that between 2017 and 2022, the losses actually grew from 219 million to about 9.7 billion in 2022 alone. And that was alarming for us. And we felt that we can't continue to allow this to persist, where a company will continue to be making such significant losses, and there are no forms of sanctions or no remedial actions to whoever is pretending over the losses that are being made within the period. And it is also instructive to note that these losses or shortfalls that are in the power sector are usually taken care of at the end of the day by governments through the budget. And this burden on the budget takes away the fiscal space that will allow government to spend on social sectors like health, education, and agriculture. The ESRP report, for example, also states that between the same period, between 2019 and 2023, the shortfalls that have been realized within the space is about $8 billion that the government will always have to come in to bear that burden. And what is even more shocking is that while these losses are being made, tariffs are being adjusted increasingly. Demand for power is also growing, so they are selling more power, but the revenue that is supposed to come from power sales is not being accrued.
Now, ECG has always been making losses. How different is this particular loss? For which reason you are making the call you're making?
I mean, we see that the losses have been rising. Like I stated, in 2017, the net loss was around 290 million Ghana cedis. As we speak, that loss is over 9 billion Ghana cedis, which shows an upward trend that if we don't put a stem on it, it has the potential of sending us into another brink of a debt crisis. That is why we have to take action now to ensure that we don't wake up one day and the net losses is now 20 billion or more.
Okay, now the next issue would be ECG's system losses are something we all know about. So is something that we've been trying to fix all these decades. Can you really truly blame management for something that has been a decade-long problem? Would that be fair? Or you believe that the current management could have prevented these losses?
I think every assessment that has been made on Ghana's power sector, at least over the last decade, identifies that one, ECG is the weakest link of the power sector. And two, the problems that ECG has to do with managerial inefficiency and also the technical problems that it has. But it is our contention that it is the managerial efficiencies that perpetuate the technical challenges that the company is having. So over time, you've seen that the political settlement allows ECG to take some decisions that does not augur well for the financial sustainability of the company and the sector, as well as for the technical viability of the space. So it is not something that is limited to this current administration, yes, but at what point do we start to call for sanctions for mismanagement of the public entity? Should we say that because some other people have mismanaged in the past, so let's continue mismanaging? We have to come to a point where we say, all of us come and say that, yes, no, we have to start fixing the problem from today. And if there are people who have superintended over egregious losses within the period, they have to go so that more competent and reliable people can come in and fix the problem that we are all talking about.
Very well. Just to digress briefly and ask you if you have any view on comment on that, the indebtedness of the IPPs, the ECG to the IPPs, do you know what the state of affairs or state of play there is? Has that largely been dealt with, or there's a problem simmering?
I mean, it's part of the entire debt accumulation problem that is in the power sector. And one thing also is that there is currently no transparency on how much debt is actually within the space. Because the IPPs quote a figure, then government will say, no, that figure is not correct. This is the figure. ECG is also quoting its own thing. But what we know is that currently ECG is only able to do 43% of collection of the revenue that is supposed to collect from sales, right? And that means that they are not able to honor the payment obligations within the value chain. So let's even forget about the legacy debt that is outstanding, which is in excess of $1 billion. Every day, as ECG fails to collect the revenue that it's supposed to collect, the debt accumulates. And that is where we have to start fixing the problem from.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.
That's Kojo Iyawuche. He's a policy lead on petroleum and conventional energy at the Africa Center for Energy Policy. This is Eyewitness News.